All right, well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday, February 16th meeting of the Boyden Library Trustees. Our meeting is called to order. We will start with a roll call per open meeting law. Joyce Parlapiano.
Here.
Kevin Penders.
Here.
Deb Stone.
Here.
Catherine Newton.
Here.
Colin Ernst, present, and Christine Igo Freeman is not present. In terms of the trustees, we also have Dave Crimmins and Sue Collins from the Friends of the Boyden Library. We have Manny Leet, our director. We have Pam Riccio, administrator, and Evan Barta, who's going to do a presentation in a little bit on website design. So with that, why don't we begin our meeting agenda? We'll start with public input. Manny, is there any public input this week?
No public input.
This month, I should say. All right, so with that, why don't we move right on to the Boyden Library website discussion, and Manny, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Colin. So the current state of the website right now, it's about 7.5 years old. And I use the term facelift, and I do think it's time for a facelift for our website. So I started exploring the idea of a new website and working with Kathy Belharney and also Catherine from the trustees, as well as Colin. And I started looking, and Kathy started looking at other library websites in Rhode Island and in Massachusetts and seeing which ones we liked. And then reaching out to those directors and asking them who was the web designer. So we had 3 companies that we had a Zoom meeting with. And when it was all said and done, we actually had 2 meetings with Evan. Little background about Evan. He's also a librarian. So he knows the struggles and he knows how libraries work and municipalities work. He's a librarian in Warwick Public Library. And I believe, Evan, you said your wife is also a librarian as well. So definitely understand the nuts and bolts of being a librarian. But the presentation and the comments that we have received from these other libraries, as far as the sales network, the Easton Library or the Ames Free Library in Easton, and the Seekonk Public Library are just 2 of the libraries that Evan has created and designed, as well as the Warwick Public Library and North Providence, and many more. So tonight I thought I would bring Evan on to this trustee meeting just to give a presentation on exactly some of his work and answer any questions that the board has. I thought this would be a good thing just so you can all can meet Evan, albeit via Zoom, but just to get just some background on how it works and answer any technical questions that you may have. So, Evan, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. Thank you very much, Manny. Appreciate that. So, as Manny said, my name is Evan Barta. I'm a librarian just over the border. And, Manny approached me. He was interested in a new website. I gave him the presentation. I recorded that, and I believe he sent it to you folks as well. So you might have seen that as well. It was probably 30 or 40 minutes. But really, the goal, just the general, goal of my websites is to make the experience easy for everyone. So meaning easy for the public to find what they're looking for, but also easy for staff to update it. And the way he described it, that was one of the major issues you guys were having with your current site. So both of those things are really at the forefront of my sites. I can do a quick demo tonight as well if you want. If for anyone that didn't see the original one, it'll only take a second. But everything we do is really as simple and as easy as it possibly could be. Staff really, once staff get a hold of the site, they spend more time really thinking and trying to be creative, with the way they market and sell themselves and promote their items, rather than spending hours trying to figure out the software, slogging through the manuals or anything like that. It's really just kind of plug and play. So, that allows them to kind of focus a little bit more on the patrons, their collections, being interesting, having fun marketing things rather than, really struggling with the website, because it really shouldn't be a struggle, where we're at now. So, and beyond that, I try to keep, modern design elements at the forefront of the sites that I build. So, Manny, do you want me to show like a quick demonstration just of like the last site I built, or did everyone already see that?
How about just a quick demonstration or
Sure.
presentation on that?
If you could I just need to share my screen and I can do that real quick. I already have it up.
Okay, so share. Okay.
I think I need to be a
co-host or
co-host. Yeah.
okay. Okay.
All right. So let's see. Okay. Does everyone see that now?
Yep.
Excellent. So this is just a site I built recently for North Providence, which is pretty close to you guys. And really, the kind of point I'm trying to make in general is just how simple these kind of things are to update, and why it should be so simple. So really, any piece of content on the site for any staff member, we can just go in, edit the site. There's edit buttons next to everything. We edit stuff just like we would with Microsoft Word. This little area right here is just like a big Microsoft Word bubble. I don't want to actually make any changes because this is their site. But really, I'll have to check into that. But really, any piece of content we can update. You'll notice there's little edit things right here. And one thing I think that maybe the staff was struggling with in the past was, or anyone really that's managed websites, is if you make small mistakes, sometimes they turn out to be really big mistakes. You miss a couple quotation marks, or you kind of do the wrong thing, and it seems like you've made, a really bad mistake, and the whole site's down. And that just isn't really possible in this situation. Everything's kind of controlled all the way down to like, the size or how an image is cropped. Like this is all built in, so all the images are aligned. They're all the same size. They have to be of a certain quality. So even if people, kind of made, tried to mess it up or weren't that careful, they really can't make any mistakes. Like even like changing a tagline, it can only be so long. So it's really kind of an experience that's catered towards everyone. If you just need to make quick updates, if you want to be fancy, if you want to take your time, you can do it all really very quickly. Just like I was saying, everything's got an edit button right next to it. We can change the text or the picture really with ease. That's kind of, like I said, the main goal. And as I mentioned earlier, I try to keep the design elements that are popular now, at the forefront of what I'm doing. And I think obviously at this point, this isn't really new, but making sure the site is mobile compatible, or it's called responsive design. So, the site presents everything just as good on a mobile phone as it does on a desktop. So obviously you're seeing mobile now. I'm not sure if this will quite resize when sharing a screen, but I'm just kind of making my screen smaller, and you can kind of see the site reorganizing itself, down to like mobile size, so everything, instead of being side by side, is, on top of each other. So that's really important, because I'm sure I don't even need to look at your traffic for your website. I'm sure most of it is from mobile at this point, or at least half of it. So that's really important that those users kind of get the same experience, or at least a very good experience. Not necessarily the same experience, but get a strong collection of all the information that you guys have. So I guess, do we want to do questions, or how do you want to proceed? Or is there anything else you all want me to show on the sites or go into detail on?
I mean, I don't have any questions. I didn't want you to hear crickets. I don't have any questions because I watched the video walkthrough, which was really helpful.
Great.
And the tool and the strategy that you present is really solid. It seems like it makes it really easy and great for the team. So I didn't want to hear crickets. I think it's great.
I appreciate it.
No questions.
I mean, Evan, I guess my only questions would be, what do you see being, looking at the platform that is the website now, what do you see the biggest challenge being? And like Colin, I did watch that video as well. And I think it's really fascinating to see the functionality of the platform you're using versus what I view as being a little bit more outdated or clunky, the platform that we're currently relying on. But I guess looking at timeframes and thinking about, what we have as an existing platform versus what you would envision going to, what do you see any particular challenges being able to migrate or replace, or do you just do a wholesale redo? I'm not a web designer.
Oh, I would, just wholesale redo. Yeah, it's I'm not really quite sure what the software is. It's not always apparent without me having like administrator access. So I can't really tell what you all are using. But it would be more work to try to, you know what I mean? Like copy it over or upgrade it or whatever, than it would be to just kind of wholesale me start fresh. Plus I like doing that anyway. It kind of gives me a ground up perspective of everything you guys have and what you're trying to do. And also I know, the software I use, I kind of know it in and out at this point. So, I've got all these, like I have a lot of templates already built. I have a lot of workflows that are already there. I'm not exactly starting from scratch. I'm bringing your information in and modifying my templates and my workflow enough so it works for you guys. Because that's really the first thing I do is, talk to the staff, get an idea of what problems they were having, but also what kind of things they want to do. And I try to make it, fix the problems, but then also, the stuff that they really want to present on the website, I want to make sure we focus in on that, do it the best we possibly can, and the easiest. We don't, like I said earlier, we don't want the staff kind of banging their head over and over and over again on the website. That should just be, you're on, you update it, it's done, it's out there immediately, and it's as quick as, 5 minutes, because a lot of times the stuff is, obviously with the weather and COVID, we realized, sending away website updates to somebody that maybe has their own issues at the moment, you don't always get that stuff out there as quick as you possibly can. So, being able to do that stuff is really important.
Thanks. That's helpful. And I guess I think you just touched on it, but I think the other question I would have, or the only other question I would have is, I believe under the current website, we're being stored on someone else's server, the site administrator server. Is that different in the platform that you're proposing that we would migrate to here, so that somebody like Manny or Kathy Belharney has sort of unlimited access to do that live content update?
So not really. So that the way your website is now is actually pretty standard, that somebody would be hosting it. Like they would have their own server. I'm not sure where they're located, where their server is located. I use a company called DigitalOcean, which basically I lease server access from them. They provide, high level things like networking and backups. But really they're just providing me with, server space and an IP address, more or less, and I build sites there. So I would be doing that for you, hosting the site, but the staff has access at all times. They wouldn't need to be involved in the hosting of the site. So it's almost like any other it's kind of like a, software as a service. So anything else, even like just email, it's hosted elsewhere, but you have access to it everywhere. if that makes sense.
Evan, is there a subsection to this that would accommodate the friends like we
Absolutely. Yeah.
have? Okay.
Yeah, we can make any number of pages or, like a featured area on the homepage. It's totally up to you guys. That's the kind of stuff we hammer out in development before we start.
Okay.
Evan, hi, it's Deb Stone.
Hi.
How about the security to the site? Is that through the server?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I manage all that server updates and maintenance to the software itself. Yeah, those are generally the two things, because there's not really, I use SSL certificates, and so the site is secure that way, like your connection to it is encrypted. But we're not really hosting any personal data. This is a little different than, say, your ILS, whereas that has people's, login information, reading history. It could have any number of things. This really, the only personal information is the staff's email, so it's kind of low risk in those terms, but I do manage all that stuff. I'm on top of server updates, software updates, and encryption for the site, for the connection to the site.
Okay, Evan, thank you very much for spending a few minutes with us this evening. And I'll contact you soon.
Okay, great. Thank you all very much, and I appreciate it. And feel free to contact me if you have any questions.
Yes, sir.
Take care.
Thank you. Okay.
Anything else you want to kind of wrap up on the website, or continue the discussion as a board?
Yeah, so I also attached a copy of Evan's proposal, and I will say that his proposal was the most reasonable out of the three. I don't know if we want to table and just have a discussion this evening and then vote in the March trustee meeting. But as far as a timetable, if we do go with Evan's company, and I think the committee is recommending Evan's company, it would take a couple of months with the goal having something up and running before summer reading program, which is usually mid to late June. So if we do go with Evan's company, we would start creating a website, and that's when, Dave, we would bring in the Friends of the Library, kind of figure out what we'll have there, speak with reference, children, of course, youth services, as far as what we're going to add to the new website. One other thing that Evan mentioned, I believe in the Zoom meeting, Kathy and I attended the video, is still look at other websites, see what you like, see, what they have as far as headers or whatnot. Right now, it's the current website that we have now, and with the current company, we're having some issues as far as communication. We're still trying to get Margie Rossetti's name off of our website, which we cannot do. That's something that Kathy could not do. But if we go with a website like the one Evan would create, Kathy Belharney or myself or somebody, Pam, we could actually go in and change the name, put in the contact information. So I don't know if you want to just look at it and then vote next month. But again, his proposal was the most reasonable out of the three. And him being a librarian, I think, helps as well, understanding, what we have. You can also look at his other websites. Swansea was an earlier one. The Richards Library in North Attleboro was another one. I believe he did the town of Coventry as well. Merrimack Public Library, the George Hale Library in Warren. So he's done quite a number of them, Bedford Public Library.
And Manny, I'm sorry if I missed it. When did you send through the proposal? I'm looking at the trustee packet. I'm not seeing it. I'm sure I just missed it though.
I
It's a
sent it.
hyperlink.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a hyperlink in the materials that he sent on February 5th.
Got it. Thanks, Kevin.
No problem.
Hey, in editing,
There it is.
is there going to, all the edits, once it's up and running, if there are changes to be made, are those going to kind of go through like one person, like a Kathy Belhani? Let's say the Friends wanted to change this subsection.
Yes, Dave. So Kathy Belharney would be really the point person.
Okay.
But one thing Evan did said is to have one or two others just in case maybe Kathy Belharney's on vacation or something and we need to make a quick change, or we're home because of snow. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
That someone else could kind of step in and make some modifications.
Good, okay.
Manny, just to clarify for all of us, you don't have to put this out to public bid. I think we've talked about this in the past.
That's correct.
Is that because it's of the dollar amount or the services provided? Why do we not have to go to a bidder list?
Dollar amount. Yeah, it's under the $5,000.
And that would be, and that, so the price that he is providing here for us to be doing this work, that's to get this up and running and for a 3-month service warranty, calls, glitches, etc. Basically being available. After that, we would be on our own, or we would be entered into some other arrangement with him for maintenance and service.
We could do either. We could, like you said, arrange to have some sort of contract as far as services, or what I don't recommend, just being on our own. And, if something does happen.
So do we know what that contract looks like?
I can get those numbers from him.
And do you know, compared to the other contracts that you looked at or the other requests that you looked at, is that consistent, or is that are there other components or elements like that are included in those bids that may have made them less economically desirable?
That is consistent. The other two that we looked at, one was a company that specializes in municipality websites, so their price was pretty high. They're based out of Massachusetts. However, they do websites across the country, and same thing with the other company that we looked at. But as far as the 3 months, yes. Yeah, it's pretty standard.
Okay, I guess my larger question is whether, you're, and I apologize, I can't remember who was on the, Catherine and Colin, I think you said were on the initial review. So thank you for that, because what he's putting together is an excellent presentation of what their capabilities are. I guess my question is, what is the long-term arrangement look like if we need a maintenance contract?
That's something that we can discuss with him.
Okay.
Something that it could be an additional,
but you're not
part of this contract.
You don't have anything there for us to be voting on that for tonight?
No, I do not.
I guess, sorry, my last thought question on that is, obviously I view us as being somewhat pot committed to doing that with him, since it's on his server. I don't know that we'd be able to go to some other maintenance contract provider in light of the fact that he controls the host. He's the host of the site. So I think personally, I would like to know what that looks like before we're required to incur that cost.
Well, like I said, I wasn't even looking for a vote this evening. So we can explore, and I can get those numbers from him, and then come the March meeting, before the March meeting, you will have that information, and then possibly vote next month.
if you can maybe clarify, Manny, I believe what he said is that it's hosted on DigitalOcean, which is a third party.
Yes.
So we would have direct access to that. I think he built the site using a software and basically a set of templates that then lives on DigitalOcean. So I don't think we're necessarily tied to Evan, although it's great service. I'm not sure whether we're tied to him in the long term. He said that's one point of clarification that maybe we could have. As I watched the demo and heard the team talk through it, I think part of the intent is that we don't need to have a managed service. It's so straightforward, WYSIWYG, plug and play, that our team our library team should probably be able to do 99% of what's required day to day. And I think having a third party come in and do some heavy lifting would be very seldom. So in terms of any sort of managed services or service contract, my suggestion would be that's basically a pay-as-you-go versus some sort of retained contracts. My guess is that between the tech savvy of our Boyden team, which is very high and fantastic, and just the simplicity of the tool that he's built, I think I would imagine we'd be able to do ourselves. But things to clarify, perhaps.
Yeah, Colin, and just to clarify, the only reason I'm asking the question is I mean, obviously we have to justify the budget, but two is where the base price is what it is, and then any sort of associated service cost that we would end up with. I'm not worried, but I want to make sure be mindful of the fact that we don't somehow exceed a threshold on an accumulative basis that then we're in violation of our procurement obligations.
Yep.
So that's why I raised the question.
Yeah, no, totally with you. Totally with you. Other questions or feedback? So, Manny, you'd like us to vote on this next meeting, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay. Anything else, folks? Super. All righty, moving on to minutes from the January 12th meeting. Any corrections or clarifications from the minutes last meeting? No. Do we have a motion to approve the January 12th minutes? Mr. Penders, second by Ms. Igo Freeman. All right, so we'll do our roll call to approve. Joyce?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Deb?
Approve.
Christine?
Aye.
Catherine?
Aye.
Looked like an aye. And I approve as well. 6-0-0. All right. Manny, any correspondence?
No correspondence.
All right, we got a double tag team of representatives from the Friends. And so is that a Canisius t-shirt I see? There you go. Golden Griffins.
Buffalo girl. Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Our sidekicks here. Thanks for having us. Janice, as you know, is tied up tonight. She asked me to fill in for her. So I'm delighted to be here. I haven't seen this group in quite a while. One of the things she asked me to bring up, we've had a subcommittee headed up by Leslie Ann Foster talking about book collections and book sales. And her committee was composed of Maggie Rossetti was on it, Colleen McManus, Jennifer Uwe, and myself. And we met over Zoom a couple of weeks ago to go through a bunch of issues regarding book sales and book collections. And I asked Manny to send out something earlier today, some financial numbers on book sales. I'm not sure if you had a chance to read it, but I thought it might be helpful to at least get some sense of how important book sales are to our income and to our ability to fund different programs for the library. And we've actually been doing extremely well up until obviously 2020. Our total income from the three different types of book sales. We have the actual book sale, then we have the book shops, that are ongoing. And then we have this arrangement with this Adam Roulet, who actually comes in when we collect the books. We have them in the sorting room, and he actually goes through, and if he sees some books that he thinks he can sell, he will actually take the book off our hands, list it on Amazon, do all the the marketing of it and so forth, the delivery and so forth. And basically he gives us, I think it's 40 to 50% on what he gets. And we have, as you can see, in one particular year, the year 2019, we brought in $3,800 from him alone. And this is basically a win-win for us. I mean, because we do nothing. The books are sitting in the sorting room to begin with. He comes through and does his thing and then takes them out and then comes back to us a month or 2 months later and said he sold so many books and this is what we get. So it's been a phenomenal win for us. And as you can notice on the worksheet, 2020 was a bust for everybody. I mean, that goes without saying. But because of the need of the library to provide additional online services, we actually spent more money from the Friends. We dipped into our reserves to give the library more funds. So in 2018, we had given the library close to $14,000. 2019, we gave them $15,000. Last year, we gave them $20,000 for different programs, crafts and books, etc. So, and we're committed to, we gave them the budget this year of 2021 of 17.3. So we're dipping into our reserves at this point. So we're hoping that we can get approval from you guys to not only do a book sale in May, but do book collections. And Leslie Ann's proposal for book collections was that we would do a curbside down the entryway every Saturday from 9 to 11, starting on February 27th.
Yeah, alternate Saturdays.
Right. Thank you. So that's right. Every other,
yeah.
I'm sorry, every other Saturday. And we probably would be doing some type of reservation system as well. So
Right.
when they call up and confirm that, we would set up a table out there and have one or two of the friends out there to collect the books. We would take the books in, it's only going to be a 2-hour period. We would then take the books into the library, into our sorting area. We then spread them out and quarantine them like Danny is doing with the books in the regular library. And hopefully we would get a sense of it after the first week, how it's going, and we couldn't make some modifications. But we really don't think there should be too much adverse effect on the library. Plus, I guess the net is that we need books. I mean, we don't have books, we can't do a book sale, we can't house fill up books into the bookshops. So, and then, so that's the big thing, collections, because I know at one point, I think Manny said you guys were kind of hesitant about us collecting, or collecting books in general. So this is the major stumbling block, and obviously we can't collect books. We probably won't be able to have a book sale or as large a book sale. And then the next part, we actually picked out a date for a book sale, but I'm looking to, I guess, we're looking to you guys to get approval to see if it's okay to go ahead and try this curbside approach to, and clearly we're going to be very follow whatever the state and the town guidelines are for safety, social distancing, mask, and all that type of thing. Would be very careful on that. So anyway, Sue, did I miss anything? I haven't gone into the book sale because if we can't collect books, we might not be able to have the book sale. But the book sale, we had picked out a date. We were talking about an outdoor book sale on May 16th with a rain date of the 23rd. And we were talking about having that on the level, the entrance level, and socially distanced set of tables, somewhat similar to what we did in the library last November when we had an inside book sale. But we thought there was some concerns from the people in the subcommittee that, being inside, some people get too close to each other. So they thought they'd feel safer and certainly more comfortable being outdoors in that area.
Mhm.
So I'm open to questions or comments, any issues?
Hey, Dave, I just wanted to start by, again, thanking you and Sue and the friends for the ongoing support and digging deep in what's been a tough year and being so generous to the library and finding ways to, continue support. So I just wanted to start with that because your support is always just phenomenal. So I really appreciate that. Trustees, what questions do we have for the friends about the proposed approach?
Dave, and Manny, do you think you have enough real estate to quarantine these books, the regular incoming books from the library, and then drop off books for the book sale?
Well, we thought we had enough. We probably have. I mean, we're not expecting to get truckloads.
Sure.
So we thought we would probably have enough room in the sorting room because it only has to be
Oh,
is it 3
okay.
days or something.
72 hours, yes.
Yeah.
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 Oh, okay. So you've got room in the sorting room. Okay, that's
And
good.
we had
Yeah.
overflow. I think Manny's. Did you think we could probably use that tutor room, the floor in the tutor room, if we did have some overflow?
If need be, yes. Yeah, if
Yeah.
there is overflow. But I know Leslie Ann also said as far as the book collection, there would be restrictions to, I believe it was 5 boxes. So 3 or 5 boxes?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do that when we're setting up this reservation, making reservations with them. We're not just
Yeah.
going to have it open, come in to anybody. We would have when we advertise it, we're going to ask them to call and make a specific reservation to come by and drop them off. And at that point in time, when we're sending out the material about it, we would define what the constraints are, how many boxes and what type of books, and we don't
Yeah.
want this, we don't want that type of thing.
Yeah, we're, if I may add, we're only, if we get a question about a donation, we're only saying less than, I think, 3 years old for current fiction, gently used children's and things like that. So we're getting very few donations now. And like I say, I think we're going to say 5 bags or 5 small boxes of books, and only very current titles. And once you start talking to people about, we only want current titles and gently used books, a lot of them go, that's okay. And we say, if they're really older, whatever, give them to savers, that kind of thing.
So what are we throwing out about 40%? When we were in the height of collecting, were we throwing out about 40% of the books?
Yeah, and
dirty or dusty or old.
People were cleaning out grandma's attic, and some, moldy. Oh my God, this is kind of books. So the other thing is, we had what was the place, More Than Words. They have not been collecting, so now we've been going to the $1 million book project, and they only will accept 10-year-old books. So we've really had to tell people, minimize your contributions. So we really have a lot of space in the sorting room.
Have we done the book sale at the front before?
Down on the entrance level?
Yeah.
No, this would be a first. Outdoors?
Outdoors.
No, this is a first. And we came up with that specifically because people were concerned that they wanted air and movement of the air and so forth. So that was one of the reasons why we thought of that area rather. We did the November one, we did upstairs on the first floor. And it actually was quite successful considering it was very limited in the number of people that attended.
Yeah, and children's were up in the cafe.
Do you think it's enough room for people to have enough tables and enough people walking around?
They were by appointment, so it was very limited.
Yeah. In the November sale upstairs, we actually had it by appointment every 15 minutes, every half hour, and the same thing would hold down on the outdoor.
But I mean, like on the outside. So if the sale is outside, it's not by appointment, do you think outside?
Oh, it will be
has-
by appointment.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's going to be by appointment. Yes, yes. So because of the constraints of the size constraints, that's definitely going to be by appointment.
The other thing too that we spoke about was the parking lot. Would we allow any parking? And we would not allow any parking. The parking lot would be closed, but we would direct patrons to the parking lot down near Schneider Electric, and also the Town Common, and also Bird Street as well. There's some parking availability. I would be there for the book sale, so I would be there on Sunday. Open the library. If anyone had to use the restroom or whatnot, I would be.
And
I'd
that's
be
only
there.
going to be a one day. The book sale, if
Yeah.
you approve the date, it would be only one day, a Sunday.
Yeah.
Any other questions or concerns?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Hey, go ahead, Calvin.
Sorry, Dave. Just as the trustee who was at the January meeting when this was discussed, and the follow-up with Janice that took place at the trustees meeting, I kind of had the impression that the subcommittee of the Friends was going to look at other sites and other venues where they could do collection and possibly the sale on site.
We talked about it. We didn't look at any, and we basically decided that it was just too much work, other sites, moving the books around, getting the volunteers to, it was at Bethany Church or the Grace Chapel or wherever. We just decided it just was not worth, we just didn't have the resources, the manpower, not the resources, the manpower to do it. So, yeah, we did think of them. We did consider them.
What's the difference in manpower, I guess, is my question, between another non-town building there, that is available for storage and housing and conducting a sale versus doing it at the library where there is a sorting room where you may have space to do collection over a period of days, but you still have size space constraints for the actual sorting of the books when you're bringing people into that room. It's not that big a room. So I guess I'm at a loss that if the Friends, and I can't emphasize, like Colin started with, the Friends are such an incredibly important benefactor to library programs and services. I don't mean to sound like I don't want you. But I guess my question is, if nobody asked any of the other organizations in town that currently are empty, and those do really speak to a lot of the churches in town that have space, whether we could do a collection, a sort, and a sale in one location. I don't understand how that's more complicated than doing that in the library where there's a collection, a sort, and a sale.
Well, first we have all the so how's the sorting room? About a half filled now with books? Is it a half full?
Yeah, perhaps.
Third to a half full. So
Yeah,
then
less than half.
Transport all those books from the library to Point X and be lifting. Part of the issue is that a lot of us are old, and lifting all these boxes of books and so forth.
Well, that's my other concern, is that all of the benevolent volunteers, I mean, that's great if you're all going to walk in and say, I've got my COVID vaccine. But, I just I have the same public health concerns that I had a month ago, and the Friends coming back and basically saying, we'd like to do the sale at the library. And we didn't look at anything else. And it doesn't address the concerns I raised a month ago.
Well, wouldn't the constraints be the same at another spot as well?
Yes, but it's not. But yes,
and so forth.
Yes, but it's not happening in a town facility, and it's not exposing potentially library staff. And those are the people that I'm charged to be worried about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, except the library is currently open to people. I mean, are we adding would we be adding dramatically to the risk?
I guess that's the question.
we did the November sale, and I don't think there was an issue. I mean, we control the numbers of people and so forth. And we deliberately, kept the numbers very low because to maintain the safety distances and so forth.
So would your plan be to hold the sale in the same fashion as you did in November? Yes.
No, yes, basically, yeah. I mean, with the constraints and so forth, there's going to be a reservation. So we wouldn't have people just wandering in and, we'd have kids every 15 minutes or every half hour, however it was worked out.
Yeah, in the spring, we wanted outside.
But we wanted outside to give it, we thought maybe a little safer.
Either in the parking or perhaps the common.
Yeah, but
I know.
I expressed concern.
You're not going to move the books to the common.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think they want to.
Trucking stuff back and forth to the common. I thought that was a problem that way.
Yeah.
Well, and the benefit to doing it under the overhang is that you don't have to worry as much about the elements.
Exactly. Well,
Right.
So forth. Yeah.
You got a built-in canopy.
Right.
The counterpoint is that the biggest complaint that we always get about
Parking.
the book sale is that there's nowhere to park.
No.
Because nobody wants to walk from Railroad Avenue to the library to go to the book sale.
Part of that would be offset though by just the restricted numbers.
Yeah.
Heretofore, when book sales, it's just been open so that you could get 20 or 30 people showing up at one time. Here, that we would prohibit that by just restricting the numbers.
Which applies for the folks attending the sale, but it doesn't apply for patrons looking to use the library.
Correct. Yes, that's true. Yes, yeah. I mean, we wouldn't have any control over that. Absolutely, you're right. Yeah.
Christine, I think you had a comment or a question.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to weigh in because I sat in on the Friends meeting during that discussion. So I think Kevin and Sue and Dave can correct me if I'm misinterpreting, but I think the whole point, what I gathered was they wanted the book sale at the library, obviously, because they want to encourage people to come to the library. So I'm just simply saying, I think that's where I don't think that was their main goal was, why move it off site when you want it to be on site? And I think they're trying very hard to accommodate the changes that have to be dealt with by having it outside as opposed to inside. But I understand your concerns, Kevin, but I just think they are trying to meet some of those needs. And I guess that's what's up for discussion tonight.
Yes, that's the discussion. Hopefully we are the way we're going to set it up. We'll meet whatever concerns you have.
Yep. No, I appreciate that.
And just for clarification, this book sale would be on a Sunday. So the library would be closed on that day.
Right.
It would just be the book sale outside in the parking lot. I would be there, open the library, we get the tables out there, books. Someone had to use the restroom.
But you're saying that it would be closed on the Sunday because you're envisioning in no scenario between now and the end of school or Memorial Day weekend, we would be opening on a Sunday. You wouldn't be making that decision or recommendation as it sits today. But
yeah, normally our final Sunday is the last Sunday in April.
Okay, right.
Oh, this is May 18th.
Yeah, we're looking
Thanks.
for the 16th of the 23rd rain date.
That helps. Thank you.
Joyce, did you have a question or comment?
No, not in particular. I had some ideas that, if we needed to think about a shuttle, if it was, to the railroad parking, that maybe we could talk about what it would cost us, or I know that the senior center shuttle, the GATRA, might be available for participating.
I'm not sure we'd have enough people at one time to want. I mean, if we ran back and forth all day long, perhaps, but
That's what I was thinking. I was envisioning like a 20-minute loop that whoever, just for the time. That way we can encourage parking offsite.
Yeah, but if it's by appointment, hopefully people are coming and going.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
exactly. I think
and the library's closed, so they wouldn't be sitting there.
Mhm.
And we
So,
did notice at the November sale that they were 15-minute appointments.
Mhm.
Just about everybody moved in and out, came on time, and left within the 15 minutes. So we didn't.
It was well run.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually did reasonably well. We didn't have an awful lot of people, but the ones that came seemed to buy and so forth. So,
Catherine or Deb, any questions from either of you or comments?
Nope, I'm all set.
You
well, if you guys want to talk about it, we obviously can leave, and you might have some questions among the group. I don't know. I don't know how you want to handle this.
I just kind of have a question to the group
Sure.
for kind of maybe it's part of a closure of discussion. And when I think about the decision with respect to the book sale, there's a collection and the sale. And this is all about managing risk in both of those, right? Managing risk to those who are volunteering and attending, and of course, those who work at the library. So maybe we can just do a quick temperature check on, how we're feeling about the risk aspects of both of those things. The book collection, which I understand seems to be limited to a small number of people, limited traffic. It is in the library, but it's not, from what I understand, it's not shooting us over the capacity numbers and presenting undue risk to the employees of the library. So that's the one half. The other half is if the book sale is outdoors, managed in a similar fashion to how it was last year. There's the appointments, there's smaller groups, and we're outside, so you've got the airflow consideration. So, but just I want to get a sense, how are we feeling about the risk of both of those, and are we seeing obstacles to book collection and book sales? First, book collection. What are folks' thoughts there?
I think it can be managed well. It seems that they know, that we can trust that they know what procedures would be helpful and be best for our current situation.
One other thing quick, and correct me if I'm wrong, Christine, Sue, or Dave, but as far as the book collection, Leslie Ann mentioned it, and I brought it up, having the collection outside a table adjacent to the building.
Yes.
So even collecting the books wouldn't be outside. The other thing that was brought up was the 27th would be a trial. See how it goes.
Right, yes. If in fact it didn't go well or we didn't get enough people, we might not do it again. Yeah. I mean, with design, other than publicizing the final book sale date, we really are setting it up in such a way that we can make changes as we go. If, like the collection, if it didn't work out well the first time, we wouldn't have to advertise it coming at 2 weeks later, that type of thing. So we felt that we could make changes as we went if it just wasn't working out.
And if I may add, the way it's going now is people call and they say, I want to make a donation. And either Janice, or Bernadette or myself go to somebody's house. Many times they leave it on the deck, on the outside of their house. So this would be a whole lot safer than what we're doing now. So, I'd appreciate if this is okay, because it's better than what we're doing now.
So we'd need to talk about approving that if it's going to be the 27th.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, to advertise it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Other comments or concerns?
I have a couple, just quickly. first of all, I think that what the Friends have put together here is a very thoughtful response to the issues and questions that we and certainly I posed last month. I think the fact that a lot of it is going to be curbside minimizes foot traffic inside the building. Again, my exposure issue is obviously staff. I think to the extent that you guys think you can quarantine books in the space that is already dedicated for storage of books, or in some other space, Manny, that is dedicated and quarantined off so that staff is not going in there and doing that. That's my primary concern. Sue, I totally appreciate the fact that you and Janice and Bernadette are collecting books, doing door to door, and that's creating a potential exposure issue for you. And I am not advocating that. In fact, I'm advocating quite the opposite. That, you know, this is one of those situations where we as a library and as a library friends group are doing more right now than other community libraries. And I applaud the Friends for wanting to do that and choosing to do that. Our staff is not choosing to do that. They're coming to work. And I think that that's the public health exposure risk that I don't want anyone to be exposed to in relation to the opening of the library, right? So the fact that you and Janice and others on the Friends have chosen to do those book pickups, I deeply appreciate as a friend and as a patron of the library and as somebody who is has benefited from the book sales. But that's a choice. And that's so. That being said, I think that the book collection proposal that's on here, because it will be measured, is going to be a lot more work for the Friends to manage, because you're going to have to do multiple iterations of it over the course of the winter and spring. And I think the idea of doing an outdoor book sale, if nothing else, is just fun in my mind. That's the kind of book sale I grew up going to. And so I love that as an idea. And so, I mean, Colin, to your question about concerns, I think that the Friends have done an excellent job of considering how to minimize exposure. There is no such thing as zero exposure. And that's, I think the balance question is for us is to make sure that we, as the custodians of the building and as the stewards for staff, have worked with the Friends to minimize their exposure. That's my primary concern. But I think that the proposal that's here is very thoughtful, and I appreciate both Sue and Dave being here to talk it through.
Christine, did you have a comment about it? Oh, you were already unmuted. Sorry, you just remuted.
Just to echo what Kevin said, yeah, I think it's a very thoughtful plan. I was impressed by it when I heard it, a week ago, and I just think it does show that they've taken some careful thought and consideration. And like Kevin said, I think an outdoor book sale sounds like a lot of fun. And I think they've put into the collection piece, just keeping it outside is and at least having it at the building. So you're just bringing books from outside to the inside. And it sounds like there is plenty of space available, and Manny's willing to offer some additional space if necessary or need be. So it just sounds like, yes, I agree it's going to be a lot of work, but the Friends aren't afraid to work. They've showed us that in the past, that they're always willing to do whatever it takes. And so I would just say that to thank them, and I would support giving them a chance to try that collection on the 27th.
Catherine, Joyce, Deb, you want to add? Catherine, we can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, it's the microphone. Should know by now. Should just like tape it to my face. So no, I think it's a great idea, and I thank you for putting this all together.
Awesome. Joyce, Deb?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree too.
Awesome.
And I
Manny-
thank you for undertaking it.
Manny, do you have any, this plan I'm sure isn't new to you, having probably talked with the friends. Anything you want to share in particular as we, make some decisions around this as a group? You're muted too.
Sorry about that. I'd like to try it out. I'd like to do the trial on the 27th and see what happens. Let's see if we do get some takers donating books to the friends. Let's just see what happens. And I agree with Kevin. It'd be fun to do an outdoor book sale because I grew up with the outdoor book sale, and it'll be warm and hopefully the state we're in is better than where we are right now. That's a few months from now. So, and we would follow every protocol that the state has issued as far as outdoor gatherings. So.
Great. Well, it was mentioned several times, but certainly bears repeating, how much we appreciate the friends, all the work that you do. And this plan you've laid out is a ton more work, and just a testament to your dedication and your contribution of yourselves to the library. So I just wanted to, again, bears repeating again, how much we appreciate what you do and taking this on. And so with that, do we want to hear a motion, take a vote on at least doing the trial run for the 27th, and then we can revisit again at our next meeting? Does that accomplish what we need? Does that give the friends support they need to get rolling? And do we want to, maybe we can do two things, a motion around the trial run on the 27th, and then motion to approve a tentative May 16th date pending all of these collections and processes going smoothly? Any adjustments on that?
Only that obviously pending that that the state continues to reopen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion on the first item. Christine?
I motion to approve the date of February 27th, 2021 as a trial run for the collection date, as a collection date to fund a possible book sale on either May 16th or rain date of May 23rd, 2021.
We want to do the motion just for the trial date. We'll do a separate motion for the actual book sale.
So back up, I motion to approve a book collection date as a trial run, February 27th, 2021, Saturday.
Great.
I second that motion.
Thank you, Deb. Any discussion? So roll call vote. Joyce?
I approve.
Kevin?
Yes.
Deb?
Approve.
Christine?
Approve.
Catherine?
Approve.
And I approve as well. 6-0-0.
Thank you.
Excellent. And our second item around the tentative date. Dave, Sue, do you want us to, put on record do you want to choose one of those dates that we're putting as tentative anyhow, but just to make a motion? And which date would you prefer we use?
16th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if it does rain, it will be the 23rd.
Okay. Got it. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a rain date right there. I apologize, Dave. Someone like to make a motion for the tentative May 16 date? Deb?
So I make a motion for the Friends of the Library to hold a book sale on May 16th, 2021. Do I need to add more to that?
Is that tentative pending
State reopening procedures? Okay. So a motion to approve Friends of Library book sale on May 16th, 2021, pending the state reopening procedures are in accordance. I don't know.
Okay.
Take out the last part.
Second?
I can second that.
Joyce, great. Any discussion? Okay, we'll roll call or vote again. Joyce,
I approve.
Kevin,
Yes.
Deb,
I approve.
Christine,
I approve.
Catherine,
Approve.
and I approve as well. 600.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I have one question though, like you're approved February 27th for a collection date, and we're going to do every other Saturday. So the next scheduled time would be March 13th, which would be before your next meeting.
And when's
Yeah.
the-
The next trustee meeting would be March 9th.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
So that's good. Okay, thank you. Thanks very much for your support.
Thank you for your support.
Okay.
Appreciate it. All right, anything else on this topic before we move on? Excellent. Sue, Dave, thanks again
Okay.
for that. You can certainly stick around. All righty, professional staff. Anything else from the Friends before we move on? That was a big topic. Anything else from the Friends you want to discuss before we move off of Friends?
No, that's it from me. Sue, anything from you?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Believe it or not, I'm done.
Okay.
All right. Next, professional staff reports. Manny, anything you want to highlight in particular?
Just something really brief. Kathy Bell Harney mentioned it in her report. She was with me throughout the 3 interviews with the web companies. I just want to publicly thank her for assisting me, and she had technical questions for each one. So I just wanted to thank her, and obviously thank you, Colin, and Catherine as well, but especially Kathy.
Awesome. That's a great presentation. Great. Any questions for Manny on the professional staff reports? Hearing none, we'll move on to financial reports. Anything you want to highlight?
Yeah, there's just 2 things I wanted to point out. FY21 encumbrance, you see $100.38. That will not be spent. One of the PPE items, which I believe were disinfectant wipes, we were invoiced for $100.38 less than quoted. So that's why you see that there. And then the other thing, you'll notice that custodial, office, and other library supplies were close to 100%. Actually, in custodial supplies, we're a little over. But Pam has purchased a lot. That's where you see that.
Any questions for Manny? Nope. All righty. Hearing none. Move on to your director's report, Manny.
Let me just pull it up here. Sorry. This past month, working with Kathy Bell Harney and various web designers, attended department head meetings, discussed the vaccine distribution in the town, various street closures, FY22 budget. Obviously, the budget and the vaccine are the 2 hot topics. Continued my weekly statewide director meeting. I had everything from lockdowns. Again, there are so many libraries that they haven't opened since March. So this library and myself kind of serve as information to give them how safe it is, any questions, any obstacles that we've had here. So there's still quite a number, actually locally too, that are still closed. We talked about delivery service, curbside service. Some libraries are finally starting curbside service, if you can believe it. That's how things are going in some parts of the state. I'm also a member of the Massachusetts Library Association Public Relations Committee, and every other year there is a Massachusetts Library Association Hall of Fame, and we were just going over nominees that will be announced in the spring. There will not be an in-person conference this year again, hoping for next year. It'll be virtual. However, the New England Library Association, they are gearing for a in-person conference. It's not until late October. So with the intention that things will be better by then. And we did close early one day, February the 1st, and that was due to snow. We closed at 1, as well as other municipal buildings in town. And I attended the Friends meeting on the 3rd. And we'll discuss in a few moments the meeting with AdCom, Advisory Committee.
Great. Any questions for me? All right. Liaison reports, as Maddie mentioned, we'll have some discussion around advisory committee and budget. So with the exception of advisory committee, any other liaison or subcommittee discussions we need to have today? Okay. So I want to move on to old business, and we'll jump in on the budget and AdCom. Okay.
So without jinxing anything, I thought the meeting went really well with advisory committee. They seemed extremely supportive of the library. Really asked one question about the budget, and it was about the sales membership fees. But the input from advisory committee was very supportive when it came to our resources, our presentation to them. So that was very refreshing. However, we did mention the young adult position, and we would be revisiting that for FY23. We haven't forgot about it. We understand how times are tough right now, and it would be a tall mountain to climb to get that position in the spring at town meeting. But we will come back with that for next year because we're extremely serious about it. One member on the advisory board did mention that too, that it's very important to get that position. I do think we're going to have how the cabin fever is going on right now. Everyone wants to go to sporting events or concerts or vacations. There's going to be people that are going to want to come and visit the library again and attend programs and use some of our services. So what better to have a young adult librarian with that as well. So I thought it went well. I don't know, Colin, Kevin, if you wanted to add 2 cents on that meeting.
Kevin?
I mean, I think anytime you go to AdCom and you don't really get questions, then you've done your job. So that's certainly a much better scenario than some of our other AdCom meetings in the past. So I'll take it. Yeah, no, I think generally folks were very supportive. Certainly our AdCom liaisons were very complimentary about the prep we did with them. And I think we heard good things for the future.
My takeaway from the meeting is just the consistent and positive communication with AdCom and in the community in general about what's important to this library and about the services that we bring. And anytime you can hear your counterparts kind of sharing back the message that we've been sharing. And that's what some of our AdCom liaisons shared back with us in terms of the importance of the young adult librarian, importance of the services. So I think it's really important that we as a board and as an extended team here continue that message of those things that are really important to us because we're getting good buy-in and good alignment. And that'll allow us to, as a community, Foxborough invest in those in the coming years. So, I'm optimistic that next fiscal cycle we'll be able to get that YA role. But, I think, again, communication is really key. And Manny, that starts with you, and you always do a great job with that. So hopefully you were pleased with the meeting and the alignment that we have.
I think also we're very transparent, which is great. We've earned their trust. So we just continue, like you said, Colin. Just next year we come back we all did. It's group effort.
Continue earning it every day. That's what we
Yes, that's right.
Christine.
I'd just like to say I heard what Manny said, that someone from the AdCom actually mentioned the young A position. I think that speaks volumes for them to, that means they've heard us and they understand the value of that position. So I think that's a credit, to you, Manny, and just all the education you've put out there in the communication. So thank you, because for someone who's a non-library person to suggest that, it just speaks volumes that they do get it. They're hearing us and they understand that it's important for this particular library to have that position to meet that population. So well done.
I think they did say I'm very passionate about that, and I really am. You know, we're going to get that position no matter what. We're gonna do it.
So any other questions, comments? All right. Next, update on coronavirus and library ops committee.
You know, I have nothing really new on coronavirus. I know the governor, within the past month, he upped the capacity with libraries included to 40%, but we're still at 20. We haven't even reached capacity at 20 yet. I think it's safe to stay where we are right now and, you know, just take our time. Staff feels comfortable with the 20%. Yeah. Again, we're one of the very few libraries in this area that's open. So, I mean, some were open and they closed. Actually, Freetown, as of yesterday, is closed for another 2 weeks. So it's, yeah.
Any questions from the trustees? Comments?
Manny, what's causing the closures in the other towns? Is it the metrics within their community? Or are there cases in the staff of that library? Like what's causing it?
So there's a whole bunch of reasons. One, you just mentioned it, Deb, there have been cases with staff. Another are the cities, you know, New Bedford, Fall River, New Taunton. Taunton was open for a while too. Same thing with Attleboro. Just the cases have spiked. They have started to go down, but still they're being cautious. There are other municipalities that will be closed throughout the remainder of the winter, and they're just being very cautious about it. Also, the overall the dimensions of the library. You know, there's a library such as Freetown I brought up, which is extremely small, or Swansea. So they're going to be reluctant to open versus here with 36,000 square footage, 3 floors, a little more open space. Walpole has been open just as long as we've been open. Same thing, larger library, plenty of space. You know, and you've been to the library, you know, there's not many chairs, so we definitely watch when it comes to social distancing and, you know, congregating. So yeah, there's a bunch of different factors. Some just the town manager doesn't want the library open. Just some with the ages of the employees as well. Yeah, it's a whole different. Going to those meetings, it's all different reasons. Yeah.
Well, in the category of things that bear repeating, Manny, you know, appreciate the work, you know, your leadership throughout this and just the focus and perseverance of the staff. We've now had 12 meetings as a board of trustees where we've talked about coronavirus. Not a milestone that I'm thrilled about. We've, you know, now been a year in this. But that being the case, the fact that you and the staff and the friends and trustees found a way to make the library continue to be vital in our community is tremendous. So, you know, again, always bears repeating. Not easy what we're working through, and appreciate what everybody's doing. So thank you once again.
I think we'll be talking that item will be on the agenda for many months to come, unfortunately.
Probably. Hopefully we're getting into incrementally better each time.
Yes.
Excellent. Anything else before we?
Yeah, I do have one other thing. Papers, if you're running for re-election, to pull your papers, and they are to be returned by March 15th.
Who is up? I know, Joyce, you are up. Who else is up?
I believe it's you and Deb.
Okay. Get my papers then.
Yeah.
All righty. Oh, can't hear you, Deb. Probably tell me you're going to beat me again in the election.
I just said I'm glad I don't have to run against you, Colin. There's plenty of votes for everybody.
You beat me every time. Great. Thanks for the reminder on that, Mary.
Papers are available at Town Hall?
Yes, Yep.
Okay.
at the town clerk's office. Town clerk's office.
All right. Anything
Colin, do you
else?
think that what is it 50 signatures that you have to get?
50, yeah.
That's going to be tricky. That's going to be tricky this time around.
Yeah.
I used to depend on like baseball games and kids soccer events and walk up and down the sidelines.
Right.
Tricky. Okay. We'll figure
Good
it out.
strategies. All right. Anything else? Do we have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Penders, seconded by Ms. Igo Freeman. We'll do our vote roll call. Joyce,
I approve.
Kevin,
Yes.
Deb,
Approve.
Christine,
Approve.
Catherine,
Approve.
and Colin approve. 6:00, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, friends.
Thank you,
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Mike and Foxborough Cable Access. And Manny.
Everyone.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Have a good night.